Now, the next game that we're going to talk about is a little game called Parade. Now, we came across this game first at Dice Tower West when our friends Monique and Naveen at Before You Play taught us how to play this. So it has already a very special place in our heart because of that. But since they introduced it to us, we have played this game so much. We played it the whole time we were at Dice Tower West. And since coming back to Australia, we've picked up our own copy and it's been such a hit with all of our friends. This game, Parade, takes place in the world of Alice in Wonderland. And there's going to be a Wonderlandian parade of people. And what you're going to be doing on your turn is you are going to be adding someone to the back of that parade from your hand of cards. Now, from here, it's a fairly abstract game, so I'm going to switch.
That's the end of the thematic.
That's the end of the theme.
Foray,
So I'm going to talk about how it plays from a more abstract perspective, but each card that you have in your hand has a suit or color associated with it, as well as a number on that card. When you add the card to the back of the parade, which is a row of Wonderlandian people or cards that are in the center of the table, you are going to be counting from the back of the parade the number that is depicted on your card. So if I put down an Alice in Wonderland, card that is a number 3, I'm going to be counting back 3 cards from Alice, and then every other card after that in the parade is at risk. They are at risk of leaving the parade, and they are going to leave the parade if the number is lower, equal or lower than that of Alice, so 3 or lower, or if that card is the same color as the card that I've just played. And when we don't want Wonderlandians to leave the parade, because when they do, they are going to be placed face up in front of us, and they are going to be negative victory points according to their value at the end of the game. However, there's a little twist that makes this game really fun, and that is that at the end of the game, the person who has the most cards in each suit in front of them is going to be able to turn over those cards, and instead of being worth negative whatever the value of the card, so -7 or -3, they're actually only going to be worth -1. So if you start to collect a certain suit, then you might as well go all in on that suit once you start getting too many of them, because then you actually might end up saving yourself some victory points at the end of the game. And why this game is really clever is because at the end of the game, you are going to have 4 cards left in your hand. 2 of those cards are going to be discarded, and the other 2 are going to be added to your cards that are on show in front of you before the final scoring of the game. So if you want to be very sneaky, at the end of the game, you can surprise someone else around the table by putting down 2 additional cards that you've been keeping up your sleeve that put you in the majority for that suit, and therefore you are going to make them lose a lot of victory points and yourself not as many. So there's a couple little twists that make this really fun, but it is quite agonizing to think about the card that you're going to play each turn, because often there is not a good option. So you're constantly counting and trying to work out what is the
lesser evil. What is
bad option here?
Least damaging.
And so the game is going to end when someone actually has one of each of the suits in front of them, or when the pile of cards runs out. And so it's just a really interesting, cute game. It's so easy to teach, and it's just so crunchy in the decisions that you have to make. And everyone feels like, oh no, I've now got no bad options. And as that parade gets longer and longer, the amount of cards that are at risk, you could end up taking so many cards in one turn. So you've really got to think through what is the right order that I need to play these cards. And so there's a bit of hand management as well.
The key word there is excruciating, like some of those excruciating moments of going, everything that I could play here is bad.
Everything is bad.
So what's the least bad thing? But it's a good excruciating, because it ends up being kind of funny and kind of like, oh no, look at all the stuff that you ended up taking.
Yeah, but what else is actually really funny about this game is that you could think that you're going to have to take a lot of cards, and then the person before you ends up playing a card
has a disastrous
turn, takes all the cards, and all of a sudden you're in
like,
clear.
oh, thank goodness. Yeah.
And there's also, the tension of playing a higher card. That means that more cards are safe because you're counting back from, if you play a 7, for example, that's 7 cards that are safe. But then any card that's lower than that from the remaining cards is obviously going to be more at risk of being in your collection of Wonderlandians. So anyway, just a lot of really interesting decisions. It's a great little game. So happy to have this in our collection. That is Parade.